what do new teachers bring to the profession? Look at the passion that we've seen today. Jake's presentation is a little bit different to what we've seen so far. Jake did an honours project last year, and every year we always have several people usually do honours in mathematics education, and I thought it might be nice just to have him share what he did, and it might be something that in the future, when you give us feedback for today, that you might want to have more people sharing their research ideas and what they've done, apart from just their teaching tips and teaching ideas. So that's something that I thought we could pursue. Over to you.
Okay, thanks. Well, at the end of 2012, I completed a professional experience in Sweden. I wrote down in my reflective diary as I was coming home that I thought that there was a problem with maths from what I'd seen teaching and learning today compared to what I'd seen over there. I thought from what I'd seen was very traditional and focused on procedural ability. And I understood from uni that it was really important to implement problem-solving tasks. But from what I'd seen from my experience, I found it really hard. So when I came back, I wanted to investigate this further. So what I looked at when I came back was I looked at obviously the Australian curriculum now requires maths teachers to implement problem-solving tasks. It's not new. It's not something that has just come about in the past couple of years. It's always been around, but it's more explicit now. We all know the reasons for implementing problem-solving tasks. I'm not going to go on that too much. Deeper understanding, you can make connections with other curriculum areas. It can be enjoyable as well, and it can also develop students' logical and creativity skills. However, there's a documented disconnect between the theory presented at university and what actually happens in the classroom. And I find that this is can be quite daunting for pre-service teachers as they enter the classroom. And unfortunately, this divide can lead them to teach from their prior learning experiences as students at school, which for many of us is probably a more traditional style of instruction. So I just want you to consider, I won't get you to answer this, I just want you to consider what is difficult for you to implement problem-solving tasks as a teacher, and as a pre-service teacher, why aren't they using problem-solving tasks? So what I did then was I just had a quick look, just a little bit of theory. There is widespread difficulty. Things like time constraints, that's come up today before, students' attributes such as ability level, achievement level, and the experience in classroom context for a pre-service teacher is much different to that of an experienced teacher. The cooperating teacher, this is what we're going to focus on today, is a significant influence. They can have a significant influence. And the research showed that actually few assisted in the implementation of reform-oriented practices, and many don't have the skills to support pre-service teachers. So my research question was, what factors support or inhibit secondary mathematics pre-service teachers' implementation of problem-solving tasks? So just really quickly, I'll just go over the results, but then I want to focus on some advice for pre-service teachers incorporating. From the survey of 24 participants in their final year, I found that 18 of them reported having beliefs consistent with problem-solving approaches. Unfortunately, only about half of those actually were implementing problem-solving tasks on professional projects. So I wanted to look at what was actually going on, what was the mismatch. So what I found was that it was actually the three most common factors inhibiting the implementation were the student's ability level, the preparation time, and the cooperating teacher were the three main ones up there. And there were some slight other ones down the end of the scale, but the three main I focused on were those top three there. In terms of the cooperating teacher, all of them said that for these interview participants, all their cooperating teachers were traditional and discouraged them from problem-solving tasks. They felt like they had to stick a lot to the textbook. They felt like there was a lot of pressure to just keep up with the curriculum and just go straight through the textbook. In terms of support, it was interesting to note the cooperating teacher then was noted as the highest support factor. So I think it really shows that cooperating teachers have a really important role, and pre-service teachers actually understand that they can actually gain a lot out of cooperating teachers. Here, a lot of pre-service teachers would like it if cooperating teachers scaffolded and demonstrated some problem-solving tasks and provided some more direction about how they actually do that in practice. So what I want to focus on now was some advice. So for cooperating teachers, which I think it's really important that you acknowledge the goals of the university course and that you're open to pre-service teachers at least trialling a problem-solving task in the classroom. This idea here of lesson study, where the lessons can be planned between you and the pre-service teacher, and they can actually be implemented together rather than the pre-service teacher just being chucked in the classroom and trying to do it all at once by themselves, which can be daunting. And feedback is really important. So as I've noted down here, this is just from my experience and other teachers, pre-service teachers aren't just a cover for classes. We're not just there to let copyright teachers have a coffee break. It's really important that they're actually helped out and assisted when they're in the classroom trying to do this. And for pre-service teachers, I suggest being aware of those factors I just identified is really important. Okay, so be aware that copyright teachers can be there to help, and also be aware of the factors that can inhibit that. Inform your cooperating teacher of what you want to do and why. So provide a rationale as to why you want to do a certain task. You actually use the cooperating teacher, use their experience. Okay? They usually will know a lot more than you in some respects. And also be realistic. In my first term of teaching at Winona, I don't do a problem solving task with each class every single day. It's too much, so I try and do one a week. Okay, so just be realistic. Be resilient. Okay, a lot of the times they may fail. You may see them as failing, but sometimes, a lot of the time, they will work. And be flexible. And also encourage multiple cooperating teachers to come watch you. The advice from one cooperating teacher is good, but from a couple of them will be just as good. And observe lessons where problem-solving tasks are being implemented. So don't just go and observe the lessons where they're doing traditional textbook work. I think anyone can do that. Go and observe the lessons where they're using problem-solving tasks. I think you can learn a lot from observing those. And also consider what problem-solving looks like in the classroom. I think a lot of people think it's just a hands-on task. It can be a set of questions, problem-solving questions. It can also be an investigation or justification task. So don't always think that it's just this one set of only go home and make a hands-on task. Here's a really quick one for year 10 the other day about One Direction. So they had to work out the ticket prices after Zayn had left One Direction, and the girls really liked that. They're a lower achieving class, and for them that was a really good problem-solving task moving into word equation. So, thank you.